Welcome to the Copperfield Electric Podcast.
It's great to be here.
You know, I was driving home the other night, and it really struck me. I was going through one of those older neighborhoods, with the big, mature trees.
Mm-hmm.
And some houses, they just vanish when the sun goes down. It's like a black hole. You can't even tell if anyone's home.
Invisible house. Yeah, it's a real phenomenon.
And completely invisible. But then you pass that one house, and it's not just lit up like an airport runway. It feels different. It feels like a resort.
Curated.
That's the word. The trees look majestic, not spooky. You can see the walkway. It just feels safe, welcoming, and honestly, a little bit jealousy-inducing.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today, that feeling.
Right. We want to talk about how you transform your home's exterior from that dark void into something secure and beautiful. This is our ultimate guide to illuminating the outdoors.
And it's a massive topic. It feels almost artistic, like you're painting with light. But underneath all that glow, it's just pure, hard, technical necessity. So for our deep dive today, we're basically looking at this really solid guide from Renee Hernandez. It's called How to Create a Landscape Lighting Plan.
Okay.
And we're pairing that technical how-to with the real-world operational expertise of our presenter, Copperfield Electric.
And that pairing feels crucial because reading a guide is one thing. Actually dealing with electricity wires, voltage, digging, that's where it gets real.
That's where the shovel hits the conduit, so to speak.
Exactly. So before we start mapping out lights, I want to know who we're trusting here. Copperfield Electric, they're not just like a guy with a truck, right?
Oh, not at all. Context is everything. They're a fully established, family-owned business, and they're based right in Orange County, California.
Family-owned can mean a lot in the trades. It usually means accountability, like you can actually get someone on the phone who cares.
Precisely. And they are deep in the community. We're talking Irvine, Anaheim, Santa Ana, Costa Mesa, Newport Beach. These are your neighbors if you're in that part of Southern California.
And their list of services goes way beyond just fixing a flickering light.
It's a full-spectrum operation,
Yeah.
Residential and commercial. The source material points out electrical installation for new construction, which is a huge deal. That includes things like ADUs.
Accessory dwelling units.
Right, those backyard units popping up everywhere. And if you're building one, you have to light the path to get there safely.
You can't have your tenants stumbling around in the dark.
You really can't. They also handle things like panel upgrades and, this is a big one, EV charger installations.
That one jumped out at me. It feels like every third car in Orange County is electric now.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And that puts a huge new load on a home's electrical system, which we'll get back to this, but it connects directly to adding a bunch of landscape lights.
Right. It's all one system.
But the biggest differentiator for me is that they're a 24-hour electrician.
That's rare. Usually you hit an answering machine after 5.
It's so rare and it's so necessary. Electrical problems don't happen on a 9-to-5 schedule. They happen at 3 in the morning on a Sunday.
Oh, that sinking feeling when the power goes out on a Friday night and you know no one's picking up till Monday.
They solve that anxiety.
Yeah.
And they back it all up. The team's background checked, they're bonded, insured, and they've got their license number right there. Hashtag 1094-740, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
I also like that note in there about us. They call themselves honest electricians.
It's a bold claim.
It is, but they define it. They say they only diagnose a problem if there is a problem. They see troubleshooting as a way to save you money in the long run.
That's the difference between a technician and a salesperson, really.
Yeah.
So, with that professional context, let's pivot to the design side, to the Renee Hernandez guide.
Okay, so I'm the listener. I'm sold. I want the resort look. My first instinct is to go to the hardware store, buy the coolest looking lights, and just stick them in the ground.
And that would be what we call the chaos method.
I'm guessing that's a bad idea.
It's a recipe for disappointment. Hernandez is very clear on this. Step 1 isn't the store. It's your own yard. You have to assess and define goals.
How? Walk the property. What am I looking for? Just dark spots.
You're looking for purpose. The guide boils it down to 3 main goals. First up, you have ambiance.
The mood lighting.
Exactly. This is about making the space feel good, highlighting that cool stone wall, the canopy of a tree, the deck where you hang out. This is about beauty.
Got it. Goal number 2.
Safety. This is all practical. Illuminating pathways, steps, any change in elevation.
This is the don't let grandma trip over the sprinkler head lighting.
That's it. Or the delivery driver twisting an ankle because they couldn't see the curb. And the third goal is security.
How is that different from safety? They sound similar.
Safety is for the people you want on your property. Security is for the people you don't. This is about lighting up the dark corners where someone could hide.
Hmm.
The side gate, the alley, the area by the garage.
Okay. A well-lit house is a less appealing target.
Psychologically, yes. Intruders want darkness. You take that away from them.
So before I even think about a light bulb, I need to do an audit of my yard. This spot is for ambiance, this path is for safety, and that creepy corner is for security.
Exactly right. And the source says to identify your targeted features. Don't just light up the grass. Light the pillars, the fountain, the oak tree. Once you know what you're lighting, then we can talk hardware.
Okay, let's get into that menu. Step 2, selecting the fixtures. I have to admit, I thought a light was just a light.
It's like having different paintbrushes. They all shape the light in a specific way. The guide lists 4 main types. First, you've got accent lights.
Highlighters.
Perfect way to put it. They're directional. You use them to uplight a statue or wash a wall to show off its texture. They make things pop.
Okay. Then there are path lights. I see these messed up all the time. They look like little runway markers.
They are the most abused fixture, for sure. People line them up in rigid rows. The goal is to cast light down on the path. You shouldn't be blinded by the bulb. You should just see the walking surface.
That makes sense. Next up, floodlights.
These are the heavy lifters. They flood a big area with a wide beam of light, great for security or for lighting up the entire canopy of a large tree.
And the last one sounds pretty intense. Bullet lights.
They're small, compact, and very focused, like a laser pointer compared to a flashlight. You use a bullet light to hit a very specific target from a distance, like a flagpole, without spilling light everywhere else.
Now, across all these fixtures, there's one technology that both sources are basically screaming from the rooftops.
LED. It's not even a debate anymore.
The incandescent bulb is officially a museum piece for outdoor lighting.
Pretty much. And it's not just about being green. The technology has gotten so much better. You know that cold bluish light early LEDs had?
Oh yeah, the autopsy lighting. Awful.
That's gone. You can get warm white LEDs now that perfectly mimic that classic cozy halogen glow. But the functional reasons are why the pros have all switched.
Economics and physics.
Exactly. First, energy efficiency is off the charts. They use a tiny fraction of the power. If you're running 50 lights all night, that shows up on your utility bill fast.
And I'm guessing they last longer.
For years longer. And think about it. Changing a bulb in your living room is no big deal. Changing a bulb that's 20 feet up in a tree or buried under a rose bush, you want to do that as rarely as possible.
You sold me. I hate ladders. So, okay, we have our LED fixtures. Now we have to actually power them. And this is where my DIY confidence starts to waver.
This is steps 3 and 4, power, voltage, and layout. And yeah, this is where most of the mistakes are made.
The guide talks about voltage. The outlets in my house are 120 volts, right?
Correct. But for landscape lighting, the standard is almost always low voltage, usually 12 volts.
Why? Why not just use the full 120?
Safety. 100% safety.
Oh.
If you accidentally hit a 120-volt line with a shovel, that's a life-threatening situation. If you cut a 12-volt line, you get a little spark. It's a nuisance, not a catastrophe.
Okay, so I need a transformer to step the power down.
Yes. You plug the transformer into a standard outdoor outlet, and it converts the power to a safe 12 volts.
All right, so we've got our power. The guide mentions 2 ways to run the wires: the daisy chain and the hub method.
Daisy chaining is the simplest. The wire goes from the transformer to light 1, then from light 1 to light 2, and so on.
Like old Christmas lights.
Exactly like that. But it creates a big problem called voltage drop.
I saw that in the notes. It was in bold. What is that?
Okay, imagine a really long garden hose. The water pressure is super high right at the spigot, but by the time the water gets 300 feet to the end, it's just a trickle, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
The electricity does the same thing. The wire itself has resistance. So in a daisy chain, the first light gets a full 12 volts and it's nice and bright. But the very last light in the chain might only be getting 9 volts.
So it looks dim or yellowish.
Or with LEDs, it might flicker or just not turn on at all. It makes the whole job look amateurish.
So the hub method is the fix for that.
It's the pro method. You run a thicker central wire out to a hub in the middle of a garden bed, and then you run smaller wires out from that hub to each light, like spokes on a wheel. It keeps the wire run shorter and more even.
So all the lights get roughly the same amount of power.
And you get uniform brightness across the entire property. But you have to plan this out. You can't guess. You need to calculate the total load, the wattage of all your lights and your distances.
And speaking of load, this brings it back to the house itself and to Copperfield.
Right. You can't just keep adding circuits to your house forever.
If my house was built in the 70s, and I add a big lighting system, plus a new EV charger, plus maybe a hot tub.
You're asking for trouble. You're going to trip breakers constantly.
Nah.
Or worse, you could be overheating wires inside your walls, which is a serious fire hazard.
And this is where that panel upgrade service they offer comes into play.
Exactly. An expert from Copperfield can do a load calculation. They can tell you, yep, your panel can handle this, or they'll say, look, to do this safely, we need to upgrade your main panel. It's about looking at the whole ecosystem.
All right, we've got a plan. We have our lights. We've done the math. Now for step 5, installation. The dirty part.
This is where dreams need shovels.
The guide has some pretty strict rules here.
Oh, yeah. The biggest one. You must use outdoor-rated direct burial wire. Regular indoor wire will just rot away in the ground in a year or two.
And what about connecting the wires?
This is the #1 point of failure. People just twist the wires together, wrap them in electrical tape, and bury them.
That sounds bad.
It's terrible. Moisture gets in, the copper corrodes, and the light stops working. Then you're digging up your whole yard trying to find the bad connection.
No, it's the right way.
You have to use special waterproof connectors. They're usually filled with silicone or grease to completely seal out the moisture.
The guide has an interesting take on the whole DIY versus pro question.
It does. It basically says an adventurous person can do this. But it comes with a big warning label. If you're not comfortable, hire a professional.
Especially if you're dealing with anything more than the basic 12-volt stuff.
Oh, absolutely. The second you need to run 120 volts to a new outlet for the transformer or install that EV charger, you are in pro territory. That's about code compliance and safety. That's a job for a licensed electrician like Copperfield.
Okay, let's say the job is done. The lights are in. The yard looks incredible. We're finished, right?
Not quite. Now we're into steps 6 and 7. Maintenance and budgeting. The long game.
Maintenance, the part nobody wants to think about.
But you have to. Lenses get caked with dirt or hard water spots. Bugs build nests inside the fixtures.
And the plants grow.
That's the big one. The light you perfectly aimed at a small shrub is now completely swallowed by that same shrub 3 years later. You have to actively manage the landscaping to keep the lighting effective.
And what's this idea of future-proofing?
It's simple, really. When you buy your transformer, don't max it out. If your lights add up to 200 watts, don't buy a 200-watt transformer.
Buy a bigger one.
Right, buy a 300-watt one. Leave yourself some buffer. Because next year, you might decide to add a few more lights. If you have that buffer, it's easy. If you're maxed out, you have to buy a whole new, bigger transformer.
That's smart planning. Now, the tough question, money. Budgeting.
It's an investment, for sure. The key is to break it down into categories.
Okay, what are the buckets?
First, the infrastructure, wire, and the transformer. Second, the fixtures themselves. And there's a huge price range here. Third, and this can be the biggest part, is installation labor, if you hire it out.
And the fourth one you mentioned.
The future expansion buffer. Budgeting for that slightly bigger transformer.
It sounds like it can add up.
It can, but what's the value proposition? You're adding security, which is priceless. You're adding functionality, literally making your yard usable at night. And you're adding major curb appeal, which increases property value.
It takes the house from being that black hole to being the standout on the street.
That's the goal. It's about pride of ownership.
So let's recap for everyone listening. They're looking at their dark yard right now. What's the plan?
First, assess. Don't just buy lights. Walk your yard. Decide on your goals. Ambiance, safety, security. Second, choose the right tools for the job. A mix of fixtures. Third, respect the physics. Plan for voltage drop.
And last, don't be afraid to call for backup.
Absolutely. If any of this sounds overwhelming, especially the panel and wiring part, call a pro.
And for our listeners in Orange County, Tustin, Anaheim, Newport Beach, all those areas, that pro is Copperfield Electric. They're located at 1581 Copperfield Drive in Tustin, California, 92780.
And the number to call to talk to a real person is 626-622-9694.
I want to leave everyone with one last thought. We talked about that 100% satisfaction guarantee from Copperfield. When you're dealing with electricity, peace of mind is just as valuable as the light itself.
I couldn't agree more. It's knowing that when you flip that switch, it's all going to work safely every single time.
That's what it's all about. Thank you for joining this deep dive. Go take a look at your yard, and we'll see you on the next one.
Stay safe and stay illuminated.
Goodbye, everyone.